If you're thinking about moving to Spain or really Europe in general, then you should know about the Spain non-lucrative visa. In this video, we'll break down everything you need to know about this visa, what it is, who can apply, the documents you need, and how to go through the application process. We'll also share some tips to make sure that your application is successful. So let's dive right in. What is the Spain non-lucrative visa? Well, it's a type of long-term residence visa specifically designed for non-EU citizens who want to live in Europe without working or engaging in any professional activity. You can't work in Europe on this visa, okay? This visa is particularly popular among retirees, digital nomads with passive income, and anyone who wants to enjoy Spain's lifestyle without the need for employment. Now, why is it called a non-lucrative visa? Simply put, it's because the visa doesn't allow you to engage in any gainful activities while you're in Spain. That means no working, no freelancing, and no running a business. Your stay in Spain must be fully supported by your own means, whether that's through savings, pensions, or passive income from investments. So, who can apply? Who exactly can apply for this Spain non-lucrative visa? Well, if you're a non-EU citizen, meaning you do not have a European passport, and you have sufficient financial resources to support yourself and your family, if you're bringing your family, without working, you can apply. This visa is especially suited for people who have retired or those who have a steady stream of income that doesn't require them to work actively. And what about the family? Well, your spouse or unmarried partner, dependent children, and even dependent relatives like your parents can also apply for this visa along with you. However, you'll need to demonstrate that you have enough financial resources to support everyone included in your application. This makes it a great option if you're looking to relocate with your family and enjoy Spain together. That's the family side. Obviously, you can apply solo as well. And if you apply solo, you don't need to demonstrate quite as much resources. If you're with a family, if you're with a spouse, children, you'll have to show a little bit more resources, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Required documents. Let's talk about the documents that you'll need for your application. This is one of the most important parts of the process, so listen carefully. You're going to have to fill out a couple different forms, including the National Visa Application Form and the Non-Working Residence Visa Application Form. We'll help you with all the different forms that you need to apply with if you choose to do this with MyLatinLife. By the way, MyLatinLife, we're an immigration firm. We can help you with the Spain non-lucrative visa, and we can help you apply from anywhere, Canada, the US, Latin America. We can help you apply successfully to get the Spain non-lucrative visa. There will be a link in the description, by the way, where you can order the visa residency assistance or book a call with us to learn more. Documents, you'll also need passport photos. You'll need a valid passport. It needs to be valid for at least 1 year and have at least 2 blank pages. Also, if your passport was issued more than 10 years ago, you'll have to get a new one. So make sure you have enough validity in your passport before you apply. You're also going to need proof of financial means. This is key. This is probably the most key part. So you're going to need to prove that you have enough money to live in Spain without working. The required amount is based on Spain's IPREM, which is basically like the public multiple effects income indicator. You don't have to worry about the acronym, but for 2014, you'll need to show an annual income of about 28,000 euros, or call it 30,000 euros to be safe, plus an additional 7,200 euros for each family member. Meaning if you're doing this with a spouse, you'll need to show around 37,000 euros of savings, okay? You can prove this through bank statements, pension records, or other income documentation. And if you're still of working age, you'll need to show proof that you've stopped working, such as a termination letter or an affidavit if you were self-employed. Okay? So this works both for retirees and also for working age people, and we can help you navigate what it's going to look like for each type of person. You're also going to need health insurance. You need private health insurance with full coverage in Spain. The Spain part is key here. It has to be with a provider authorized to operate in Spain, and it must cover all the risks insured by the Spanish public health system. This insurance must be valid for 1 year, and remember, travel insurance will not be accepted. And again, this is something that MyLatinLife, we can help you recommend the specific health insurance that you're going to need. Don't do health insurance. You want to get, there's a couple different specific health insurance options that you have, and we'll help you navigate that. Next, you'll need a criminal record certificate. If you're over 18 and applying for a stay longer than 180 days, you'll need a criminal record certificate from every country you've lived in over the past 5 years. This document needs to be legalized with the apostille of the Hague Convention and translated into Spanish. So if you're Canadian or American listening to this, your criminal record check is going to have to be translated into Spanish. The apostille, if you've never heard of that before, it's basically like an authentication, a legalization of documents for use internationally, and we can help you obtain those apostille documents as well. Next, you'll need a medical certificate. This certificate needs to state that you don't have any diseases that could pose a risk to the health system, that you're in perfect health, and like the criminal record certificate, it needs to be legalized and translated into Spanish. You're also going to need proof of residence, okay? So you'll need to show an ID card that proves you live within the jurisdiction of the Spanish consulate in which you're applying. This could be a driver's license, a state ID card, or other proof of residence, meaning that in addition to your passport, which we talked about previously, you got to have a secondary ID for that country, okay? So make sure you have that secondary ID, driver's license, cédula, for Mexico, maybe the INE, so some sort of proof of residence, okay? Next, you'll pay the fees, so the visa and residence permit fees. You pay the visa fee, the residence permit fee when you submit the application. Payments are typically made via money order, and you'll need to check the consulate's website for the exact amount. It differs depending on which country you're applying in and what types of payment they'll accept. Okay? Side note here, if you're applying for your family members as well, you'll need to submit similar documents for each one. This includes proof of relationship, like birth or marriage certificates, and documents showing financial dependence. All foreign documents need to be legalized and translated into Spanish. Okay, so now you know what documents you need. Let's walk through the application process step by step. I highly recommend not doing this by yourself and working with MyLatinLife or some other immigration professional to ease your process. Why have so much uncertainty doing it by yourself? Why not work with a professional that's done this dozens and dozens of times? They know the pitfalls, they know what to look out for, and they can help you get this residence visa faster than you could do by yourself, and also improve your chances of success so that you're not wasting money on documents and translations and all the rest of it, okay? So you'll submit the application in person at the Spanish consulate or embassy that has jurisdiction over your area. Remember, you need to make an appointment beforehand, so plan ahead. And depending on what country you're applying in, the appointments can be a little bit out, so keep that in mind, okay? You'll have to prove residency in your consular jurisdiction, so make sure you have an ID that shows that you live in the jurisdiction of the consulate. For instance, if you live in Southern California, you would apply at the Consulate General of Spain in Los Angeles, okay? If you were in, New York, you're going to apply at a different consulate on the East Coast. And note, if you're on a B1, B2 visa in the US, you must apply at the country of legal residence, not the US. Okay? And if you have residence in multiple countries, you potentially have the opportunity to apply in multiple countries. A lot of people, a lot of the followers of MyLatinLife, maybe they have Paraguay residence, they have Mexico residence, they have residence somewhere in Latin America, as well as, Australia, Canada, the US. And we can help you navigate, maybe where's the best place to apply strategically based on the residencies that you have. So another benefit, of course, of having multiple residencies is now you have multiple places that you could potentially apply for the Spain non-lucrative visa. Okay? So you'll probably have to attend an interview as well, answer questions about, why you want to go to Spain, all that type of stuff. And then you're going to wait for processing. So after you submit your application, you'll need to wait for the consulate to process it. This can take up to 3 months, and they'll give you a tracking code so you can check the status of your application online. Side note here, most Spanish consulates take your passport during the processing of your application. So I know I just mentioned it can take up to 3 months to get issued, meaning that the Spanish consulate could be in possession of your passport for up to 3 months. So you might want to apply for this visa during a period of time where you don't have any travel coming up, because you're going to have to hand over your passport. The reason you have to hand over your passport is they're going to affix a visa physically to your passport. And so for them to do that, they have to obviously have the passport. And so you're not going to have it, so you can't travel. So don't apply a week before Christmas if you got to fly home for Christmas, for example. Okay? Next, you're going to collect your visa. Once your visa is approved, you'll collect it in person within 1 month. The visa itself will be valid for 90 days, during which time you must enter Spain. Okay? Meaning that once your visa is approved, you have 90 days to enter Spain to sort of activate your visa and get the thing started, okay? So keep that in mind. You basically have 90 days to move to Spain after you get accepted, because there are physical presence requirements to keep the visa active after you get it, okay? So once you get the visa, 90 days to move to Spain, okay? And we can help you with some of the technicalities here as well, of course, with the whole process of relocation. MyLatinLife, we help with relocation. Apply for your residence permit. Okay, so after arriving in Spain, you need to apply for a residence permit called a TIE, Tarjeta de Identidad de Extranjero, which means foreign identity card, okay? And you'll have 30 days to do so. So 90 days to enter Spain, and then once you get to Spain, within 30 days, you have to apply for your residence card, okay? This card will serve as your official ID in Spain during your stay. Side note, if your visa application is denied, don't worry. You can appeal the decision within 1 month or file for judicial review within 2 months, okay? And we can help you with that as well. Let's give you some additional tips here. So here are some additional tips to help ensure a smooth application process. First of all, start early. Start gathering all the required documents as early as possible, because it can take time, especially the police check, especially the apostille, especially if you need to get them legalized and translated. So start as early as possible to avoid last-minute stress. Next, double check everything. Make sure all your documents are complete, accurate, and meet the consulate's requirements. A single missing or incorrect doc can delay your application. You might not get outright denied, but they might say, you got to come back. So to avoid having to come back, make sure everything's perfect the first time, because a lot of people might not live super, super close to the consulate. Maybe you have to get a hotel to, the night before your appointment. It costs money, to do these things. So let's get it right the first time. Also, show strong financial proof. The more financial documentation you can provide, the better. If you have multiple sources of income, be sure to include documentation for all of them to strengthen your application. You can also do things like getting your financial documentation notarized or get it stamped at the bank, and just to make it look a little bit more official, so it's not just like you printed it out, because if it's just printed out, there's no saying you didn't Photoshop it, right? So try to get it notarized, stamped, anything you can do really to strengthen the financial claim and make it super certain that you have the money, it's legit, and it's all good. Okay? Next, I would say expect processing delays. So keep in mind that visa processing can take several months, so plan your move to Spain accordingly. This is Spain after all. This is not Germany or Switzerland. So Spain, the embassies, the consulates, they move a little bit slower. So something to keep in mind. That's also why you should kind of get things started as early as possible. Don't try to apply if you think you're going to move to Spain next week. You want to apply with, as far in advance as possible, okay? And don't book any travel until your visa is approved, obviously. Last thing I would note here in terms of tips, consider professional help. If you're unsure about any part of the process, you might want to consult with an immigration lawyer or a visa consultant who specializes in Spanish visas. They can help you navigate the process and avoid common pitfalls. If you want to get started right away, there's going to be a link in the description where you can book a call with MyLatinLife. There's going to be a small fee for the call. We're just trying to weed out all the time wasters. But once you're working with us, you're working with us, and we're going to do our best to get this visa physically in your hands as soon as possible. So there you have it. The Spain non-lucrative visa is a fantastic option if you want to enjoy living in Spain without the need to work. Whether you're retiring, taking a break from your career, or simply want to experience life in Spain, this visa could be the perfect fit for you. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on living abroad in Spain and Latin America and everywhere around the world. Basically, we help people with their internationalization journey. Okay? One other thing I'll mention, I'm going to have to make a dedicated video for this, but this is a particularly good hack for Latinos. If you have a Latin American passport, meaning Mexico, Argentina, anywhere in Latin America, including Brazil, actually, including Puerto Rico, and also including the Philippines and Equatorial Guinea. If you have a passport from a former Spanish colony, from a Latin country, a Spanish-speaking country, you're going to have an accelerated path to citizenship in Spain, meaning that you can get Spanish citizenship in only 2 years as a Mexican, as a Panamanian, etc. And so this non-lucrative visa can be your fast track to a Spanish passport, okay? And so a lot of my clients and a lot of my audience are Canadian American, and obviously the path to Spanish citizenship is a lot longer, 10 years. But if you have a Latin spouse, maybe your spouse is from Mexico or somewhere else, and you're concerned about the strength of the passport of your spouse, because you're saying, okay, my spouse has, say, a Mexican or Brazilian or Argentine passport. I wish they had a European passport. I wish they had a first world passport. This visa is the visa for you, because you get your spouse the Spain non-lucrative visa, and then they'll be able to apply for a Spanish passport in 2 years. And then once they have a Spanish passport, they'll have visa-free Australia, they'll have visa-free United States, they'll have more access to Canada and so forth. So something to consider. I'll make a separate video on that, but just thought I would add that as a little side note at the end, that this visa is particularly good for Latinos. And then, of course, it's particularly good for retirees as well, and anyone with passive income, such as real estate income and so forth. So we're ready to help handle your Spain non-lucrative visa for you. Just get in touch with MyLatinLife. Either order the visa assistance directly, or book a call with us to get started. Cool? Catch you in the next video.